My thoughts at the end of day 36, America in shutdown. Now, when we started to turn the corner on this virus, we knew we would see a constant effort to blunt any good news. So media figures, politicians, and even some government officials seem far too comfortable in shutdown mode, if you can believe it. Now, Nancy Pelosi lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion in the Pacific Heights neighborhood of San Francisco. It's very nice. And then some weekends at her vineyard in Napa Valley. So do you really think Nancy minds doing her press interviews from, I don't know, her gourmet kitchen?
Speaker Pelosi, what have you found? What are you going to share with us from your home?
Chocolate.
Really?
Chocolate candy.
Oh, wow.
Now, while choosing between the lemon peach gelato and the coconut sorbet, she let small businesses desperate for relief dangling. She used their pain to extract concessions that were basically totally unrelated to helping small businesses in that PPP extension bill that the president plans on signing. Now, of course, she's not alone. Many have played the moment for maximum political leverage and shameless self-promotion. But seriously, while there's no minimizing the horrible human tragedy of this virus, it's a lot of people and a lot of suffering, there is good news out there. The infection rate is declining in most places around the world, including in New York. And although more than 44,000 Americans have lost their lives to COVID-19, we have 330 million more Americans who still need to protect and reclaim theirs. Doing this requires a frank assessment of how we got here. We were told first that we had to shut everything down in order to save the healthcare system. Well, today, the only thing threatening the healthcare system is the shutdown itself. Number two, we were told that we had to lock down because we didn't have enough ventilators. Now we have more than enough ventilators. Number three, now some governors say that they can't reopen because they don't have enough tests. Well, how many? Well, some experts say we need to do 20 million tests a day. Oh, that's realistic. We're doing roughly 120,000 tests a day right now, more than any country on earth. And number four, even if governors secure the tests, they're going to claim that they can't reopen until they have an army of tracers and trackers. Well, how many do they need? One estimate says they need 300,000. Well, how long would that take to set up? Maybe, I don't know. I can't even think about how long would that take to train all those people. And our state governors prepared to pay for it all. And why should Montana have to pay the bill for Bill de Bloviator's mistakes? Number five, of course, even if we have enough tests and workers to do the contact tracing, we'll be told that we have to stay locked down until there's a vaccine. Well, even Dr. Fauci has to concede that we may never have a vaccine for this coronavirus. It's going to take a long time if we have one. SARS eventually burned out before we tested the one from mice to humans. We don't have a vaccine for HIV, but thankfully, wonderful therapies were developed to save lots of lives. The left doesn't have any intention of letting society return to normal. They never liked the old normal. Remember, Trump was elected during the old normal days. Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed to the Supreme Court during the old normal. And the Russia hoax collapsed during the normal days. Now those who've been frustrated that America hasn't evolved fast enough to progressive ends are using this crisis to change society, they hope. As Andrew Cuomo said, to remake it and to reimagine it. And right now, frank assessment, they're winning. Millions are out of work and dependent on a government rescue. Dr. Fauci is focusing only on the virus, not, of course, on the broader American life that must go on before the nation itself flatlines. What does the president need to do now? Number one, push back against any efforts to move the goalposts. We've saved the healthcare system in New York. No one is running short of ventilators. Those were the reasons that we shut down, and they no longer apply. Number two, control the narrative on testing and tracking. Keep explaining to the press, to the governors, and to members of Congress that the U.S. government has made testing and tracking progress, and they're going to continue to. Emphasize two key points. Our efforts have been world-class, and current testing and tracking efforts are sufficient to allow significant portions of the country to reopen. Plus, they got $25 billion today for testing and tracking, the states did in the New Deal. Number 3, make deals with blue state governors and mayors. The president has demonstrated time and again, this has been a great aspect of his leadership during this period, that he's willing to work with anyone and everyone to get America back to work. Keep it up. Some might act in bad faith out there, we know that, but others just want their people to get back to work, their kids back to school. Number 4, keep working with Congress. Even when members seem unreasonable and pretty mean-spirited, take the temperature down. It's good for everybody. We've passed a series of these short-term measures that are designed to get money in people's pockets and get folks through this immediate crisis. Now we're going to need legislation that will help restart and rebuild the country.
As the president said, we would look forward to phase 4, would be infrastructure. The president's been talking about infrastructure since the campaign. Roads, bridges, broadband, especially broadband now to rural America is very important. We've talked about incentives for restaurants, sports, entertainment, because these businesses have been impacted. The president has talked multiple times about a payroll tax cut.
And 5, America first now more than ever. The president was 100% correct to use his executive authority to freeze immigration during this crisis.
It would be wrong and unjust for Americans laid off by the virus to be replaced with new immigrant labor flown in from abroad. Because we want to protect our U.S. workers, and I think as we move forward, we will become more and more protective of them. A short break from new immigration, depending on the time we're talking about, will protect the solvency of our healthcare system and provide relief to jobless Americans.
Now, it would have been even more America first and effective, let alone more popular, if he had extended this pause to the thousands and thousands of temporary workers that come in every year. But this is an important and will be a very popular start. So are Americans going to agree with Trump? Of course they are. Nearly 8 in 10 support a pause, according to the latest USA Today Ipsos poll. Of course, the usual suspects were enraged by this move. They wanted unlimited immigration, even during a pandemic.
That's not where the problem is coming from. And it avoids him having to deal with the fact that we went for almost 2 months or more without action.
Can only be understood as a political matter, not as a public health matter. The redirecting some blame to foreigners who presumably had something to do with this.
The president is trying to fan the flames of xenophobia. Americans brought coronavirus here. It was already here.
It's like laughable. They accused Trump of xenophobia when he shut down travel from China. They're still doing it. So Trump has smoked them out here brilliantly. They're perfectly happy locking down the American people while throwing the doors open to thousands of people from every country on earth. So shame a millennial in the grocery store for not wearing a mask, but welcome asymptomatic foreign spreaders and pick up the tab. Healthcare, it's on us, the American taxpayer. That's how radical these people are on the issue of immigration. They won't even let us go to church if we're sitting 6 feet apart, but they want immigration flowing like there was never a crisis. So until the pro-lockdown folks are willing to support efforts to reopen the economy, they're in no position to insist that immigration should continue as normal. That's absurd. The president is showing that us through this crisis how America first goes from being a campaign theme to a way of life. And those are my thoughts at the end of day 36, America in shutdown.